Virtualization 2.0 is here, and it's going to be all about manageability. In this presentation, you will learn about the EG Enterprise Performance Monitoring Solution and how it meets the critical needs for any Virtualization 2.0 ready monitoring solution. We'll begin comparing how Virtualization 2.0 differs from Virtualization 1.0. Virtualization 1.0 was about proving the benefits of virtualization, such as energy and space savings, ease of provisioning, and high availability. Virtualization 2.0 is about delivering the benefits of virtualization with performance comparable to a physical-only infrastructure. In Virtualization 1.0, virtualization was used mostly for staging and development environments. Virtualization 2.0 is seeing the use of virtualization to support mission-critical applications and services. In Virtualization 1.0, it was common to over-provision the virtual infrastructure to ensure that performance was not an issue. In Virtualization 2.0, as administrators aim to get the best value for investment in their resources, right-sizing of the infrastructure will be common. Return on investment in the infrastructure will be common, and this will pose some interesting trade-offs regarding how to size a virtual infrastructure to get the best ROI without compromising on performance. Virtualization 1.0 was dominated by a single vendor, VMware. Virtualization 2.0 is characterized by the coexistence of heterogeneous virtualization environments, including VMware ESX, Citrix Xen Server, Microsoft Hyper-V, and Sun XVM. In Virtualization 1.0, new service opportunities like VDI were explored and developed. In Virtualization 2.0, real-world applicability and effectiveness of these technologies will be assessed and demonstrated. So what are the requirements for any Virtualization 2.0 ready monitoring solution? While virtual infrastructures have benefits, it is unlikely that an entire infrastructure would be moved to a virtual environment right away. Physical infrastructures will continue to exist and support critical applications. Hence, a monitoring system should be able to support physical and virtual infrastructures from a single console. It should provide support for heterogeneous virtualization technologies, including VMware ESX, Citrix Xen, Microsoft Virtual Server, Sun Logical Domains, and so on. Conventional management software designed for servers is not virtualization aware. Hence, the monitoring solution should include virtualization-aware monitoring of physical servers so that it discovers what virtual machines are on each server and what resources they are taking up. It should monitor physical resource utilization such as CPU, memory, disk, and network, and help determine whether a server is sized properly. It should provide an outside view of VMs and show which VM is consuming the physical resources. And it should determine if live migration is working well. In Virtualization 2.0, root cause diagnosis capabilities will be more important than before, especially since critical business services will rely on virtualization, and it will be important when a problem occurs to determine quickly what the cause of the problem is. Knowing what is going on inside a VM is as important as knowing what resources a VM is taking up. This is essential for quick problem identification. Getting an inside view of a VM can help answer questions such as, why is a VM taking up resources? Which application is consuming resources? Is an application malfunctioning? And is the workload too high? The monitoring solution should not just give raw data and let the users interpret what is going on. All the metrics collected should be baselined automatically so norms are readily available and alerting can be proactive. The monitoring solution should provide automatic correlation and root cause diagnosis. It should let an administrator know where the cause of a problem is: in the network, the database, the application, or the VM. It should correlate problems between VMs and physical servers, provide business service views rather than silo views, and provide cross-domain correlation and reporting. It should provide different views for different stakeholders and administrators, personalized to suit their roles and responsibilities. It should be scalable, easy to deploy, and cost-effective. And finally, it should provide support for monitoring virtual desktop infrastructures. Now we will look at how EG Enterprise addresses these requirements for Virtualization 2.0 monitoring. We will first look at the EG Enterprise Monitoring Dashboard. The EG Monitoring Dashboard provides monitoring of physical and virtual servers, networks, and applications from a single console. Alert levels are automatically adjusted based on EG's patented root cause diagnosis technology. The root cause of a problem is shown as critical or red, effects of a problem are shown as major or orange, and proactive alerts are shown as minor or pink. And the monitoring dashboard is customized for each administrator based on login name, thus providing personalized views. Let's take a look at the EG Enterprise architecture. EG Enterprise uses a single agent per physical server, so it is easy to deploy and cost-effective. An agentless option is also available. The single agent monitors physical infrastructure, multiple guest OSs, and over 80 different applications. There is no need for any knowledge modules or smart plugins. The licensing is independent of the hardware capabilities of the server, 1, 2, or 4 CPUs. The EG single agent supports more than 10 different operating systems, including Windows, Linux, Sun Solaris, HPUX, AIX, and True64. It includes support for different virtualization technologies, including VMware ESX, Citrix Xen, Solaris Logical Domains, Microsoft Virtual Server, and Solaris Zones. EG Enterprise's 100% web-based HTTP/HTTPS architecture can be deployed without reconfiguration of firewalls or proxy servers, and it is easy to scale. And the redundant manager option ensures that there is no single point of failure, so the monitoring solution is available 24/7. For monitoring virtual infrastructures, the EG agent uses a patent-pending in-and-out monitoring approach. It supports virtualization-aware physical server monitoring, a physical infrastructure-aware outside view of VMs, so it can determine what resources each VM is taking up and which physical server the VM is running on at any point in time, and an application-aware inside view of VMs, so it knows what applications are running inside a VM and what % of the resources allocated to the VM they are consuming. The EG agent is easy to deploy, cost-effective, and efficient. EG Enterprise includes custom monitoring for virtual desktop environments. Unlike conventional virtual infrastructures, the emphasis when monitoring virtual desktop infrastructures is on understanding the behavior and usage of users who are logged on to the desktops. EG Enterprise discovers the virtual desktop to user mapping, and its real-time views show which users are logged into each desktop. Clicking on an icon drills down to the inside view of that virtual desktop. In this application-aware inside view of a VDI, we can see all virtual resources used by a virtual desktop user. Clicking on a magnifying glass diagnosis button lets us drill down deeper into the information supporting a particular metric. In this case, this brings up a list of the top 10 memory-consuming processes of the virtual desktop user. EG Enterprise supports auto-baselining of metrics. Today, most operators have too much data. In a virtual desktop environment, with 30-plus desktops per ESX server, an operator could easily be collecting thousands of metrics for each ESX server. What operators need is information. Automatic time-varying thresholds provide administrators with the norms of their networks, servers, and applications. Any deviation from the norms are flagged by the monitoring system as proactive alerts. In this case, the green line is the raw data. Using time-tested statistical quality control techniques, EG Enterprise determines the time-varying baseline for this metric. The baseline is indicated by the purple line. Notice how well the purple line tracks the green line over time. Having the monitoring system auto-baseline your infrastructure makes it simple to configure the monitoring system and makes the monitoring proactive. Now let's take a look at an example of how EG Enterprise supports automated root cause diagnosis. We will start with a display of transaction metrics for a web-based service named ISG Web. We can see that the checkout and transfer balances transactions have unusually high response times. Clicking on any of these transactions displays the service topology diagram for this web-based service. We can now see the service topology diagram for the ISG Web service. This diagram shows the applications and networks supporting the service and the interdependencies between them. The dependency arrows and color coding make it clear that a problem with the MS SQL Server is impacting the web server. Clicking on this icon displays a layer model for the SQL Server. We now see the layer model for the MS SQL Server. EG Enterprise includes models like this for over 80 common application server types, including web servers, databases, terminal servers, virtual servers, and so on. In this case, you can see that there is a major alert condition at the operating systems layer of the SQL database server. The problem is with the disk activity of disk 0, and the disk write times are over 11 seconds. However, notice that the disk busy metric is showing very little disk activity. This is very strange. But wait, the appearance of this virtual components link tells us that the SQL Server is running on a VM, and there appears to be a critical problem in the VM infrastructure. Clicking on this link displays a virtual infrastructure topology diagram for this VM. We now see a VM infrastructure topology diagram which updates automatically to account for live migration. It appears that the SQL Server VM is hosted on an ESX server, and something in the ESX server itself is impacting the SQL Server VM. Clicking on this icon brings up the layer model for the ESX server. We now see the layer model for the VMware ESX server, and it is clear that the problem is at the OS layer. Something is wrong with CPU usage of the ESX service console. The ESX console is taking up close to 50% of the server's physical CPU. This is very unusual. Clicking on the Diagnosis button lets us find out why. This brings up a list of the top 10 CPU processes running on the ESX service console, and we can see that a Samba backup job is using almost 95% of the ESX console's virtual CPU. This is the root cause of the web response time issues. All of the alert conditions we have stepped through are also summarized in a single screen, the EG Enterprise Alarm Console. Color coding clearly distinguishes the root cause from the effects. Simply clicking on this Diagnosis button shows the root cause of the problem, the Samba issue shown on the previous slide. We will conclude our presentation by summarizing how EG Enterprise meets the requirements of Virtualization 2.0 monitoring. EG Enterprise provides the ability to handle a mix of physical and virtual infrastructures by monitoring over 10 different OSs and over 80 applications on physical and virtual machines. It supports heterogeneous virtual infrastructures, including VMware Vi3, Citrix Xen Server, Solaris containers and logical domains, and Microsoft Virtual Server. It supports virtualization-aware physical server monitoring and an outside view of performance of each VM. It supports an application-aware inside view of VMs and it is the only monitoring solution that can provide an outside and inside view of the virtual environment using a single agent. EG Enterprise baselines metrics automatically by using past performance to determine time-varying norms for these metrics. It provides automatic correlation for pinpointing the root cause of a problem. This includes correlation across VMs and physical machines, correlation across protocol layers to identify problematic layers, and correlation between applications responsible for business service delivery. This results in single-click diagnosis with root cause information. EG Enterprise is highly scalable and easy to deploy because of its 100% web-based architecture. It offers the flexibility of agent-based and agentless monitoring, and it integrates with virtualization platform monitors like Virtual Center. It supports monitoring of virtualized desktop environments, including monitoring of user activity, application mix, and access patterns. This helps reveal the overall effectiveness of your virtualization desktop environment. And finally, it supports personalized role-based views for different stakeholders, thus limiting stakeholders' views to the portions of the infrastructure that they are responsible for. Thank you for listening to this presentation on how Virtualization 2.0 is changing the way organizations monitor, manage, and maintain virtualized infrastructures. For more information on how the EG Enterprise solution from EG Innovations can help you with your Virtualization 2.0 monitoring needs, please visit us on the web at eginnovations.com or contact our sales team via email at sales@eginnovations.com.